So, good morning, folks. My name is Tim Ealer. Hope you all doing well today. We have a very challenging forecast ahead of us for the weekend. But right now, you can see where our system of interest is here, diving to the south here, right? And over the coming days, this is going to cause a lot of people to have headaches trying to figure out what's going to happen in this area. So, we're going to spend a lot of time today talking about this. And if you want to just hear about the snow for the south, you can find what you want to look at with the timestamps throughout the video. If you want to just know about Warner Robins area, you can look for that too. I have that in there for the 2-day forecast, 15-day temperature forecast, and snowfall amounts that two different ensemble models are comparing them to, right? So quite a bit of uncertainty, and good morning to y'all. My name is Tim Ealer. Hope you all doing well today. Like the video if you like it, subscribe, and happy Friday. So on to the current radar and current hazards. So what do we got going on this morning? Well, we have that very dynamic system I talked about on the water vapor imagery. You can see all the high wind warnings, the wind related warnings, all the way down into Oklahoma on the basically on this side of the Rockies here, right? This system dips to the south. There's you know, a steep gradient here. So wherever this gradient is, right? These isobars tightly packed, you got high winds moving here through the flow, right? Okay. And part of it's because of the mountains. And so this is going to slide down this way, right? So anyway, let's take the radar off. All right. Go back to it real quick. You know, snow generally for the northern tier, maybe some rain here for the south. Snow edging in the northeast, and just stagnant air out west here. So anyway, let's go on to current hazards. High wind warnings or winter weather advisories just all over the place here. Minnesota, Iowa, and points west have different wind related warnings or advisories here. Winds gusts of 75 miles per hour. That's crazy. You have some special weather statements here, snow showers, right? And as well here, minimal snow accumulations. So they can become slippery conditions here as these systems move through. You see with the snowfall right there, right? Special weather statement in Georgia for fire weather, as well as North Carolina, and let's see here in the Northeast. Rapidly falling temperatures with freezing precip on the roads. Winter storm warning, weather advisories on the lee side of the lakes here, as well as lake effect favorite areas here as well. We got freeze warning, cold weather advisories all the way into almost South Florida this morning. And then we go further west, we have a lot of stagnant air here and freezing fog. And that's about it for the nation for this morning. So when it comes to the forecast for middle Georgia in the short term, highs today generally in the 40s to 50s with sunny skies. Tonight, low to mid 30s to near 40, depending where you're at. With precip chances increasing here for the northwest and northeast part of the state, with potential for showers and Saturday night. With the thermal profiles up here in Blairsville, we may get some snow pellets or snow here. We'll have to see. And tomorrow, yeah, generally in the 50s to the 60 further south. So, um, with maybe some rain showers in central Georgia. Um, Light rain, not expecting a lot here. That's the initial push of moisture um, before a potential Saturday night event. Yeah, and the cold air will settle in tomorrow night. Yeah, so when you look at the long range here, interesting how the temps will be above normal on Saturday, and you see the temps on Sunday. So quite cold through the 22nd, then warming up in the 60s, right? We'll forget about it, the snow that we potentially had here. um, and then cooling off to at or slightly above normal temps for highs, and lows maybe slightly below normal, but we'll continue to look at this. But this is the 15-day forecast right now. Of course, more uncertainty as you get further out with a wider range of possibilities here. So when we look at the European ensemble, okay, this showed this yesterday. This model has 50 members, and these different runs, perturbed, meaning change in initial conditions, is run in tandem with the European model operational run. And this table shows the different snowfall amounts possible. All right, so the majority of the members here show snowfall, even though some of the amounts are light. When you average this out, it's probably around an inch or so, right? So I would say, if you look at this model, the European, which is the most reliable model in my opinion, um, roughly 60 to 70% chance of getting at least a trace to an inch of snow in our area as of right now. So we'll have to see, right? So if you compare the European ensemble to the GFS ensemble here, which has 30 members, you can see it's not as bullish with precip with snow totals here, right? I don't know why it just shows 0, but that may be a trace, right? Which is less bullish than it was before. I'm kind of moving away from thinking the GFS is right here. I think there's some problems with it. Um, but we need to monitor this for trends, right? And see if how it goes in the next 12 to 24 hours. So uh, I know I'm kind of excited, but it's so complicated, this forecast, guys. So we'll keep an eye on it. So we look at the short-term hazards here, day 3 to 7. Really, most of these hazards are between tomorrow and Tuesday, right? High winds on the 18th, which we're seeing starting to make its presence known here already in the next couple days, right? And then lingering here through the 18th through the 20th, hazardous cold in Minnesota. And you see where the system moves through to the east, right? And on the 19th, after passage of that system that we're talking about, potential for snow here, hazardous cold into Florida. So um, definitely an impactful event, not just from a precip perspective, but cold air as well. So when we look at the longer range outlook, the 23rd for the 29th for U.S. hazards towards the end of the month, we're still talking about the potential for heavy rain here, especially in the Tennessee Valley, right, and surrounding areas. So the 23rd through the 25th here. So that'll be quite a change here. But first, we got to get through our potential snowfall here for the south, right? Snowfall. We have this boundary setting up here. The central part of the U.S. with more of a zonal flow, right? So, um, slight risk for heavy snow all along with this boundary is and along and just east of the Rockies here as well. High winds, slight risk for high winds here. Northern tier of the U.S. Pushing into the central U.S., south central, right, through the 23rd through the 26th. And hazardous temperatures, moderate risk of hazardous temperatures here towards the end of the month, the 24th to the 26th. With a slight risk further south, looking like the boundary might push a little further south here in the longer term. Day 6 to 10 temps, you see what I'm talking about here with this boundary, right? Where the cold temps are likely to be above normal out west here. So stark differences here with above to near normal to below in Alaska, depending where you're at. Above in Aleutian Islands and near to above in the Hawaiian island chain. And 6 to 10 day precip. You see, for most of the nation, it's trending above normal here, except for out west, parts of Florida. You see Alaska, I mean, it's such a big state, so you're always going to have differences here depending on where you're at, most of the time anyway. Above to near normal to below, depending where you're at, Aleutian Island chain. And this connects to the Alaska right here, so. And 6 to 10 day precip outlook for Hawaiian Islands, looking above normal. And this 8 to 14 day temperature outlook towards the end of the month. It looks very similar to the 6 to 10 day, right? This was issued yesterday. Above to near normal to below in Alaska, but you can see in the continental U.S. where the temperatures are be about below or above, right? Pretty much the same as the 6 to 10 day outlook. Trending above here in the Aleutian Island chain and near to above normal in Hawaii. And the 8 to 14 day precip outlook. So yeah, above normal for most of the U.S. Near normal in the Southwest into Texas here. So quite a wet period coming up towards the end of the month. Above in Hawaii, above to near to below normal, depending where you're at in Alaska. And near normal to above normal precip chances here in the Aleutian Island chain. So this is the week 3 to 4 temperature outlook. This will be reissued, updated today, right? So I think we'll still maintain a northwest cold air up to the north, boundary out west here, right? So this is showing below to equal to above normal temps here, depending where you're at in the continental U.S. Northwest flow is maintained here. Below normal in Alaska, above in Hawaii, to above the equal chances of below, depending where you're at in the Aleutian Island chain. Of course, further to the east here, you're closer to Alaska, so that's why it's part of that. Precip outlook, like I said, this will be updated today. Maybe northwest flow will bring some more precip to the northwestern parts of the U.S. Equal chances for most of the U.S. here to above to below, depending on where you're at. Northeast, Midwest, and southern Florida. Equal to above, depending where you're at in Alaska. Below, looking like to equal chances in the Aleutian Island chain. And above, trending above here in Hawaiian Island chain as well. So, yeah, so let's compare some model runs here. First, we're going to go with a NAM 3-kilometer model, okay, and we're within its range now. Well, this is actually 12-kilometer. My bad, sorry. But anyway, go through time. This is a reflectivity as modeled by, well, as shown by this model. It attempts to show reflectivity based on the temperature profiles, right? We get till Sunday morning, which is interesting here. It's a little bit slower here. It's just roughly like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Right, 15Z. Yeah. Anyway, rain changes snow all the way up into the generally splitting the state of Georgia in half, although a little further south here, um, almost down to the Florida peninsula here, right? Um, so this is an interesting scenario if it plays out, right? Cold air, initial push, the air temperature is a little bit too warm, um, support snow, but then you have this changeover to snow pretty quickly here for a few hours. Yeah, and this is kind of delayed here for the onset, so interesting if this plays out. So this is a NAM 3 kilometer. This is the NAM, but a higher resolution for the southeast here. Simulated radar. Okay, we're starting off Sunday morning. Okay, the 18th. See that push of moisture further south. Initially rain. Cold air catches up here in the lower levels, and we get a band of snow generally in the same areas. It's a NAM 12 kilometer, although quite a narrow swath here, and not showing a lot of like freezing rain potential here. So if I have time, I'm going to go through the thermal profiles and really look at that, and go over some soundings from these different models, but pretty consistent between the two NAM runs at least. There's another short range model, the RRFS, experimental 3 kilometer resolution. This is starting roughly Sunday about midnight, okay? This goes out, I think, 60 hours, if I remember right. 84, excuse me. So we start out with thermal profiles in the southeast that don't support snow, right? And this system gets a little more amped up or intense and throws precip further to the north here. You see uh, possibility of heavy freezing rain here um, in central Georgia, and further to the north it shows snow, right? But this is during the day on Sunday. Um, Interesting how the timing seems to be different than what they were talking about yesterday. So interesting if this plays out. This seems a little bit too warm in my opinion, but we'll have to see what all the other models say. But generally, unfortunately for like North Carolina, South Carolina is showing all rain, but still quite a bit of uncertainty, even 2 days out with the exact locations, unfortunately. So for snowfall here. So then we look at the global models. For comparison here, we have the European, okay? And this has been further south with snowfall this whole time, and further to the southwest here, right? Or basically along the coast the whole time. Although it does show snow, potential for light snow up here in middle Georgia, but the most intense band is in southern Georgia here, right into Florida Panhandle. Um, this is during the day to the evening on Sunday. And I'm gonna have to look at the timing here with this because I've said this already, but um, you know, the timing is slowed down quite a bit with this. But so you get the feel for the difference in the short range and the global models. At least we compare the three short range that I talked about to the European here. So, but if you look at the consistency of the European model, it's been very consistent here, right? although it changes some here, but this is the most recent run, 00Z, see 6 hours, 72 hours. It pretty much shows the same thing, right, during this period. A little further south, okay, but and not as far north a little bit, right? Go back to the latest run, see it right here. Well, 3 runs ago, a little further south and east. All right, but generally, and the thermal profile is a little more supportive of snow along the other areas of the coastline here. 4 runs, very consistent. So the European has always been that way. It's not as prone, it seems, to wild swings as much as the GFS, especially. So if you look at the AIGFS, not the AIGFS, the European AI model, you can see the onset is not quite as early as the, although it starts something here as early as the GFS, right? GFS 6C, you already have this overrunning here pretty quickly moving through. You move through, you're already on the back side of it, right? 12Z with the Euro, we're just getting started here. And they're both initialized at the same time. So, and the Euro is actually moves out, the Euro AI moves out pretty quickly here, moves out to sea, right? And it doesn't show, rain or snow here, but you can imagine right along the northern edge of this, where the freezing line is here. You probably get snow, freezing rain, things like that. So very difficult forecast still, guys. I'm going to go over the Canadian and the UKMET as well for comparison here and see what they have to say next. So the latest run of the GFS is kind of confusing here. It seems to have the onset of this precip here a lot earlier than the European, right? We're looking at the our 5709Z, and it's showing just rain here, right? We switch over to the European 18Z. So, and these are both initialized the same time period. Quite a stark difference. We're talking, 9 hours for onset here. So, yeah, so if we go back a couple of runs of the GFS, still 09Z, right? I don't get this. I really don't. Yeah, the onset is later here with 3 runs ago with the GFS. All right, and this is the only model so far I've seen that has having this onset earlier, which likely explains why it's showing rainfall here. Although some of the profiles at the surface seem supportive of snow, maybe the upper levels are not as supportive. Uh, right? And we go through time. You see the system develops more up here, right, in the northeast quarter. Okay, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to look how this model initialized too, and maybe it's just way off. I don't know. So, sorry guys. I mean, when it comes to analyzing this stuff, if you have an initialization that's off in timing of the model, it throws the whole thing off. So, have to figure this out. All right. So, sorry for the uncertainty, but it looks to me like it's going to be a just-in-time event for a lot of areas in the south. And if the timing isn't just right, we could get nothing, rain, ice, or other things. So you have to keep watching this. So here's the AI GFS. I wanted to show this as well, although it doesn't show snow on the map here. It just shows precip, right? 6-hour totals here. And the GFS is early with this as well. All right, it moves it quickly out to the northeast. So um, likely the GFS and GFS, AIGFS, I mean, they're probably both rooted in the same kind of algorithm. So although this is AI, it still it probably learned on the GFS model itself, I would guess. I don't know for sure. I have to check on that, but um, quite early, like midnight with onset. I'm still baffled at this, but it is what it is. That's what it's showing here. So we'll keep on keeping on and show you all different model runs here. So when we look at the Canadian model, okay, this is a 15-kilometer global model, which is less resolution than most of the other global models. Go through time here. Initial push, it wants to start the onset of this precip early, and it's almost indicating more of a trough to the west here, which brings warmer air to the north here. But it's more from this model, there's definitely more precip further north. Okay, we'll have to see how this plays out, right? But mostly either rain or snow line. You're threading the needle here all the way up the east coast, right? Where the 540 line is here. So you get through the day on Sunday, you get to the afternoon, maybe some snow on the backside, and it gets a low developing right off the coast here. All right. So this model definitely is the most aggressive when it comes to moisture so far. Okay. And further to the north and west. And so we'll have to see how the trends go today when we compare all the model runs. Here's another global model, the UKMET. This is the English model, okay? British Royal Crown, UKMET office. You can see what we got going on here, and I'm going to bring up my pen to draw this real quick. I wish I could spend all day talking about this. Unfortunately, I have to go to work today, but you could see the cold air, right? Cold air is like going like this. I mean, cold air source is down here. Not your typical setup as far as a CAD wedge goes. So, um, it's interesting because, this is backing up against the Rockies, right? Cold air comes this way. You have a trough digging, right? And it'll dig. And then you maybe get a wave or surface low develop here and go generally this way or this way up the coast. So that's the scenario that's happening here, but the timing and how negatively tilted the trough is moving through here is in question still, even 2 days out. So let's look at this real quick, compare it to the other models. So we're getting into Saturday and then Sunday morning, right? This model has a 540 line pretty far to the north here. So I would say that, let's see if we can, if it shows, it doesn't have precip type here. So, but you can almost make out where the rain snow line would be. This is pretty far north here. Cold air starts pushing through. But the Appalachians do provide a barrier for the cold air, right? But I don't know, the cold air is digging this way. It's an interesting evolution, right? So I don't know, you see what happens here. And the timing for this is a little quicker than the the European and the other short range models, right? and it's a miss for the northeast corridor. The mid-Atlantic may get some stuff here, but you see how the trough lifts out here, right? And we go through time with this. We have another, just a northwest flow continuing here, right? So it'll be cold Monday into Tuesday here with this. So although not below freezing, but still chilly. Yep. So in summary, we have a lot to figure out here in the next couple of days for the potential snowfall in the south. Although we can't forget about everybody up north here with the cold air and snow moving in, and potential for wind chills in the really dangerous area here. So hopefully we'll get some more clarity in the next 12 to 24 hours. And by the time I do another video tomorrow, we will have a better idea, I hope, about what's going to happen in the south. I hope you all have a good day.